The second story is an awesome story. This was years ago, 22 years ago, when I used to teach. And besides doing teaching, I as well took care of their emotional needs, which is complimenting them, which is noticing them, which is trying to be fair, although those years I made too many mistakes. And I still, when I see my students, I apologize. And I'm very embarrassed. And I remember that year, give or take 22 years ago, I noticed that this kid needs a little bit more attention than the average child. I used to come over to him before school. I used to smile, and he really enjoyed it. And I asked him what he ate for dinner. I used to go through details and just to have a very brief 2-3 top minute conversation, and that was it. Over the year, I remember he used to ask me if I'm going home, if I'm not going home, because if I am going home, he wanted to know if he could walk with me, because he had very similar path, so he would walk halfway to my house. And it was a beautiful year, a real angel, a real sweet, amazing student. Halfway in the year, the student's mother approaches me and says, "What did you do to my child?" I understood her question. And she says, "My child is just a different kid." And she tells me her son's history within 4.5 minutes. This kid was born, and he just didn't stop crying. And he wasn't happy. And when he got older, he as well was not happy, and he just was a miserable child and used to fight with his siblings, and things were never good. And this year, it might be connected to you, but he's a real happy child. His fighting with his siblings is dramatically minimized. He comes home with a smile on his face. He seems very happy. What's the secret? 3 minutes. So I looked at the mother and I told her like this. I told her, I know there's some 10-year-olds that come to school with lunch and they come with a sandwich, and if they finish a half a sandwich, it's like a miracle, like they really ate a lot. They're full, they had a snack, and they can't eat more than a half a sandwich. And the same age, there's some kids that come to school, they come with 3 sandwiches, and when they're done, they're still hungry. Everyone's metabolism is different. I told the mother, one cannot compare one child to another child. Certain children need a certain amount of love, certain children need a certain amount of attention, and certain children need way more. From the first day of school, I noticed your child needs. Not that he's needy, and not something is wrong with him, and not he got good again, he has to go get a life. Your child really needs attention. And I figured it's so easy, it's just 2 or 3 minutes. And I was glad to give it to him. And walking with him home, spending time by recess, it was beautiful. And I said, that's the way love works. But to see a child year after year unhappy, and that's all he was missing, was a little bit. I know for my own children, I know which child needed a certain amount, and other children need to have way more. And you can't compare and say, well, excuse me, I just spent 10 minutes with all your siblings. They were all happy. Like, what's the matter with you? Because everyone's appetite is different. Personally, when I was 10 years old, after dinner, I used to, like 2 hours after dinner, I used to take a rye of bread with peanut butter and just polish it off. And I was the skinniest in the family. My mother always ran to the doctor, couldn't figure it out, and still mysterious. A little 10-year-old kid, when you gave me a fresh loaf of rye bread with peanut butter, zoom, straight, that's after dinner. Every child is different. And love is something huge that makes a huge difference in a child's life. You never see mean people. You'll never see aggressive people. You'll never see unhappy people. You'll never see anything negative within human beings. if they got the appropriate dose of love that sadly till today most parents don't know. They know when the child is born, they cuddle and they hug and the kid is so cute. Until 1.5, when the kid starts running around the house and destroying the house, and then the parents tell me, to be honest, I just can't wait for bedtime till this little toddler just gets into bed, I could begin to breathe. And then when the kids start challenging you, of course you don't love them. Well, you love them deep inside because we all love our children. You don't want to spend time with them. You don't find it interesting. You don't find it lovable. But if we have the appropriate relationship, and which is open communication, and that could only happen when we are healed ourselves, when we can hear criticism, when we're ready to learn, and we're not God, and we're not Mr. Know-It-All. It is just incredible when you give these kids love, attention, and affection.